want here in Memphis.
I got asthma. My mama got asthma. My grandma at home, 87 years old, got asthma, and she never had it before. I can't breathe at home. It smells like gas outside.
We've shown up here today because we're tired of going in and out of hospitals, going in and out of funeral homes. We've been paying taxes and we've been dying, and what we're saying is that stops now.
We need to talk about Elon Musk. Musk, the world's richest man with a net worth currently estimated above $400 billion, has constructed and launched an artificial intelligence data center in Memphis, Tennessee. He claims that ambitious AI is the future. It'll, quote, cure cancer, fight climate change, and turbocharge productivity, unquote. However, in his efforts to improve humanity, he is killing Black people down the street.
You know, if we do get to the sort of like magic genie situation where you can ask the AI for anything, you know, it's how do we find meaning in life if the AI could do your job better than you can?
Elon Musk says it takes too long to build a facility in the U.S., so he's fast-tracking the project to power up his supercomputer.
Elon Musk's one-word post to X, accurate, confirms his plan to buy a power plant overseas and ship it to Memphis to provide additional energy to run his supercomputer colossus.
Imagine taking a stroll through your neighborhood, walking your dog, or pushing a stroller, and you're hit with the smell of gas. Is the street about to explode? Is there a leak somewhere? Are you in danger? You look around and see your confused neighbors emerging out of their houses to figure out what in the world is happening. You learn that just miles from your house, gaseous fumes are filling the sky and entering your lungs and your water. Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, has unveiled a new AI data center, and he needs all the power he can get. But the byproduct of that power is poison. Do you move away or do you just stop breathing? This is the current reality for many citizens of color in Memphis, Tennessee, specifically the Boxtown neighborhood. And unfortunately, their story is not a unique one. Waste has to go somewhere, and where it ends up is often in neighborhoods where people are too poor or too uninformed to fight back. In many cases, those neighborhoods are predominantly made up of people of color. Whether due to hatred or apathy, or both, this practice is known as environmental racism. And environmental racism is not a new concept. There are examples of environmental racism pervasive throughout United States history. On July 16, 1945, nuclear bombs were tested in New Mexico under the supervision of J. Robert Oppenheimer. You know, that J. Robert Oppenheimer. The world was experiencing an unprecedented global conflict that you might have heard of, World War II. In the minds of the United States government, everything was on the line, and the successful execution of a nuclear bomb program was everything. The Alamogordo bombing range in New Mexico was deemed one of the perfect sites for testing nuclear technology and extracting uranium supply to create the bombs. These areas were already occupied just miles away by the Native American Navajo Nation. We're talking about 500,000 people living within 150 miles of this nuclear bomb testing site. The Native people in the area in 1940 experienced a similar confusion as the people of Memphis in 2025. Something was off with the water. The Navajo people are still suffering to this day from the aftermath and waste from uranium mining, experiencing higher rates of various cancers. Over 500 mines have sat abandoned for decades, seeping toxins that are still being cleaned up to this day. Practices like this are all too common. After all, no one wanted a coal mine or power plant next to their house, so why not put it on the bad side of town or the area where no one lives? And by no one, they mean marginalized populations that they don't care about. And it's safe to say that if someone can't afford to pay their medical bills from the side effects of being poisoned in the name of technological advancement, they definitely can't afford a lawyer. In 1978, this type of carelessness reared its ugly head again. Toxic waste was being buried in Warren County, North Carolina, and seeped into the water supply. The previous practice was to dispose of this waste by just dumping it on the side of the road. This new solution was anything but that. Polychlorinated biphenyls, aka PCBs, was what they were dumping on the side of the road. This toxin was once widely used in machinery. Today, they are banned because of their ability to cause liver damage, liver cancer, and much more. The NAACP and United Church of Christ stepped in to advocate for the very poor and predominantly black residents in Warren County. People took to the streets to protest the landfill. They band together to block the truck path that needed to be used to dump the PCBs. 500 people were arrested in these protests as a result. The landfill remained, but there was some progress. The governor of North Carolina at the time, James B. Hunt Jr., reassured residents the landfill would improve the process to prevent the water supply from being undrinkable. This event is considered key to the environmental racism movement. In Louisiana, sickness creeps into the water, air, and land in an area that stretches 85 miles between Baton Rouge and Louisiana. The problem is so severe that this area is known as Cancer Alley. Oil refineries and chemical plants are all over the area. Dozens, hundreds of them. They all ended up there because it was much cheaper to set up shop in undesirable neighborhoods. You could probably guess what people in these neighborhoods look like and their socioeconomic status. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, people in this area experience higher rates of respiratory diseases and reproductive health issues. The University Network for Human Rights surveyed and found that those who lived less than 1 mile from the Denka plant, which produces synthetic rubber, nearly 40% of them regularly experience chest pain, heart palpitations, or both. 1/3 regularly experience wheezing and or difficulty breathing. More than half experience headaches, dizziness, and or lightheadedness. More than 1/3 regularly experience skin and rash irritation, amongst so many other things. This particular plant closed in May of 2025, but the damage is already done, and there are many other plants in the area to continue churning out pollutants. The people of Cancer Alley have been suffering under these conditions since the 1980s. A report titled, "We're Dying Here," details what life is like for those living in Cancer Alley. One resident, a 71-year-old woman named Sharon Levine, said, "We're dying from inhaling the industry's pollution. I feel like it's a death sentence, like we are getting cremated, but not getting burnt." And we all know about Flint, Michigan. In 2014, Flint, Michigan began experiencing an issue with lead in the water. This lead impacted a predominantly black community. All of this in the name of saving money. Flint was now getting its water from the Flint River. The water was found to be unsafe that same year. Although the water supply switched the following year, the lead in the pipes only continued to grow and make things worse. Over 1 decade later, and the problem is still ongoing and not fully resolved. The EPA would officially declare the water safe to drink just a few months ago in May of 2025. The residents of Flint are not convinced. Even President Obama said filtered Flint water was safe to drink back in 2016 as long as it was filtered, and tried to drive the point home by taking a sip of the water. Unfortunately, there are dozens of examples of situations like these. And now there's yet another environmental threat on the horizon, one that has the potential to impact almost every state in the country. AI. Artificial intelligence has been around longer than people think. In simplistic terms, it's the attempt for tech to think and carry out functions a human could. The earliest ideas for such a concept started way back in the 1950s. A man by the name of Alan Turing wanted to know, during this rise of new technologies, if maybe one day computers would have the ability to think in the way humans do. He created a test, the Turing test, to see if a computer could convincingly carry out functions a human would. Although not an option, we are seeing this now with AI, increasing its ability to carry out conversations in a more organic manner. Today, most people use some form of AI without even knowing it. AI proves useful for things like filtering emails, voice assistants that respond to certain prompts on the phone, autocorrect, etc. In 2011, things got a little more interesting with the introduction of virtual assistants like Alexa and Siri, things that we all use in our cars or around our home. Simply by calling out the names of the product, it would tell you the weather or set an alarm on your behalf. But now we're in a new era, the era of generative AI, and this takes things to a whole new level, a more dangerous level. What is a data center? There are nearly 12,000 data centers around the world. 45% of them are located in the United States in cities all over the country. America is slowly becoming the leader in the world of AI and has more data centers than any other country. And the man hoping to have the biggest, the strongest, and best data center is Elon Musk. Musk's goal was to launch his own AI model, Grok, That is the name of the AI model that he launched that is integrated with X, formerly known as Twitter. As of today, Grok is fully operational. If you're a Twitter or X user, you've run into Grok, whether it was through your own personal use or witnessing other users interact with it by asking it to decipher something or create an AI image. Grok has run into its fair share of controversy due to it being too honest sometimes, like in the last several months where it has spoken about the Palestinian genocide, something that Elon Musk and other billionaires and world leaders would like for you to ignore. And then, oppositely, there's been instances where the Grok chatbot has been anti-Semitic and spewed racist rhetoric, even referring to itself as Mecha Hitler. And such an AI model needs a home. It needs a place for it to operate. In order to make Grok happen, Musk needed to build the massive data center known as Colossus. Colossus, as the name suggests, is a huge undertaking, using upwards of 100 acres of land, enough space to build at least 400 homes. A little alarming, but something Musk bragged about is that it only took about 19 days to build the data center, and a hefty $80 million investment. The supercomputer consists of about 230,000 NVIDIA GPUs, and the NVIDIA CEO, Jensen Huang, said that Musk's efforts are superhuman. The city of Memphis was on board with this building. Like so many other cities, again, they saw the promise of jobs and economic advantages and getting their piece of the digital delta. Elon's original plan was to use the energy provided by Memphis's local power company. It was going to take them a little longer to get the grid where it needed to be in order to properly supply the data center. Musk didn't have the patience to wait for that, so instead, he's taken to using gas turbines to power the facility. The facility is being powered by 35 unpermitted gas turbines, and these turbines have been worsening the health conditions of the community around them. Typically, data centers rely on the local power source for energy. For example, in some states like Oregon, data centers use over 11% of the state's power. Another major resource in jeopardy is the clean water in Memphis. Memphis sits on top of an aquifer. The aquifer provides clean drinking water to its residents, and it also provides 1 million gallons of water a day to the XAI facility. We see this happening all the way in Arizona. Water that could go to thousands of households is being used for data centers. Now, when it comes to data centers, there are several options on how to power it, including renewable options, but many of these data centers located around the country are not being kept going by renewable energy. Once the facility was up and running, citizens of Memphis were very confused and took to the street thinking that maybe a gas leak was occurring. But it was no such thing, just dozens of gas turbines pumping fumes into the air. It's estimated that anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 tons of nitrous oxide, a greenhouse gas, are being put in the air by this facility, along with several other harmful chemicals like formaldehyde. In places like Boxtown and in South Memphis in general, the life expectancy is just around 63 years. They experience some of the highest rates of air toxicity, not just from Musk, but from other harmful plants as well. Initially, Musk claimed that the turbines were not all operational, but that proved to be a little less than factual. Technically, not all of them are operational, but the majority of them are. This is hardly the dream that the ancestors of the citizens of Boxtown had when they set up New Beginnings as free people in 1863. They made their homes out of boxcars, which is where the town gets its name. Boxtown is predominantly black and a community with a median income of $37,000 a year. It's going to be a nightmare for these people heading into the future. It doesn't look like this data center is going anywhere anytime soon. And it's existing also that people can make videos of what their dog would look like if it was a person, or so that businesses can cut costs and just hire a computer instead. A lawsuit is in motion for these actions taken by Elon Musk. It's pretty well suspected that there have been some serious violations of the Clean Air Act, which in more recent news has currently been under attack by the Trump administration. More environmental racism. So time will only tell if the people of Memphis get even a sliver of justice. And speaking of the Trump administration, the people most negatively affected by AI probably can't count on him for any kind of assistance. In July of 2025, President Trump introduced and signed America's AI Action Plan. The plan clearly states that it is a national security imperative for the United States to achieve and maintain unquestioned and unchallenged global technological dominance, and that the United States needs to innovate faster and more comprehensively than our competitors. The demand for AI data centers is expected to climb over the next 5 years. Most devices already have some sort of AI on them, and businesses are completely on board. McKinsey & Company estimates that by 2030, 70% of total demand for data center capacity will be data centers equipped to host advanced AI workloads. No longer just machine assisting humankind, but machine overstepping into a realm that is already becoming disastrous for the most marginalized groups. States are lining up to revive areas using the future of AI with promises of jobs, while simultaneously putting the health of existing residents at risk. But is it really worth it? Estimates suggest that all of these AI plans will result in over 100 million tons of CO2 being pumped nationwide. Elon Musk says that he intends on building another data center, an even bigger one in Whitehaven, another predominantly black neighborhood in Memphis, Tennessee. In August 2025, 66 new gas turbines were ordered and delivered to that site. This is the moment before the documentary, before thousands more are poisoned. The Colossus website claims that, quote, "We're moving toward a future where we will harness our cluster's full power to solve intractable problems. What's one seemingly impossible question you'd answer for humanity?" Unquote. My question is, when will people matter more than profit?